Both of these stocks, the glass bedding in them is terrible. Just a tiny little dab of compound at the rear action screw, another little tiny dab at the forward recoil lug. Now, did I mention the triggers? I think I did, but I'm good. The triggers are no good.
This is Grizzly Country Outdoors.
Hey folks, it's the 2nd of June. It's the 2nd of June 2026. And I'm making a follow-up video on a couple of rifles that I bought last year. I got the first one in February, a Winchester Model 70 featherweight in 270 Win. And I think it was only about a month later, and I bought a 308 Win, also featherweight. And you know, the Winchester Model 70 blah 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 is supposed to be the rifleman's rifle and all that stuff, and perhaps it is if you do a lot of work. And this video is going to show you a couple of issues here with these rifles that most people believe out of the box they're great. They're not. There's only one undeniably good thing about the Winchester Model 70 out of the box, and that's the controlled round feed, if you think that's important. To be frank, the more important aspect of that is the reliable extraction with that fantastic claw extractor, right? Controlling the cartridge going into the chamber for people hunting in North America, honestly, it's not important. But it sounds nice. I love the idea myself. I've got several of these Winchesters, got some CZs that have it. It's a pretty snazzy, cool idea, but it's overrated. It is. The 3-position safety, you can argue whether you really need a 3-position safety, but that'll only make everybody yell at me for saying it. Now, what I really wanted to show you, when I got these rifles, both of them are in featherweight stocks. Both of them, allegedly, are glass bedded, free floated. Not true. Neither of them were free floated. I had issues with barrel contact on both rifles. I'm going to show you the glass bedding on these rifles. It's terrible. Here's the stock from the 270. Look at, there's one dab of contact. One dab of contact. This whole area. The action is not even supported through this whole area. It's terrible. You think the 308 is going to be any better? No. Take a look. There's the 308. It's even got a smaller dab of bedding on the rear action screw than the 270, which is hard to believe. And a little wee dab at the forward, the recoil lug. That's it. And on this 308, it was terrible. Like you can see how this is a little shiny, and that's because I had to work like to relieve this with a sand and a dowel and piece of coarse sandpaper to clean out that barrel channel so that, which way am I moving? There we go. Anyway, and then when I was done, I put a clear coat on it, right? So that's why it's got a little bit of a gloss to it. But anyway, this rifle, the 308, I actually took deer hunting with me back in November. And honestly, we ended up, because we were, I didn't get very good groups. So in fact, I took a whole bunch of pictures of the groups that I was trying, or the, loads I fired and the groups I ultimately got with these two rifles. In the end, they were just acceptable for hunting. As long as you weren't at long distances, for out to a couple hundred yards, yeah, I could take these hunting, right? Which I did. Like I took the 308 because honestly, I believed we were going to be hunting in the timber the whole time, and as our hunt unfolded there last November, we ended up on this big power line. And I mean, there was the potential for 300, 400 yard shots, which I'm not a fan of doing that. I'd rather shoot a deer at 20 yards any day, right? But on account of that, I didn't trust that 308. I didn't believe if I had a shot out at those ranges that I could trust the rifle. So it actually got put in the gun case, and I finished the hunt with my Remington Model 700 30-06, and in the end I shot a buck at 95 yards with the 30-06. The 308 would have been okay, but by then it was already in gun safe. Now, the other thing, you'll see that I got two wooden stocks here, because neither of these rifles, the way that the action's bedded and the way the barrels were not free floated in any way, I didn't want to bugger around bedding these. One reason being, they're such beautiful friggin' stocks. I'm going to put them away. I'm going to put them back in the boxes they came in and just preserve them in pristine condition. Might make somebody really happy one day when I go down the dirt nap rate that they get these. Anyway, so what I did for both rifles, I got Bell & Carlson fiberglass stocks. That's the 270. You'll see that the 308 looks identical except for one little detail. Because I took this hunting last November, I had my video camera mounted on this bolt here. That's the reason it's on there. And yeah, the other difference, I guess I should have mentioned, a different scope. I got a Bushel scope on the 270. And Leopold Very X3 2.5 to 8 power. Arguably my most favorite scope of all time. Now, the thing about these Bell & Carlson stocks, they're aluminum pillar bedded, right? But they're not glass bedded. The other, so I'm gonna play with that, right? I wanna see if I can get these shooting okay with just pillar bedding without glass bedding them, but I'll cross that bridge when I get to it, because the second issue that I had with these, the triggers on these rifles are terrible. It's marketing. They, oh, the 70 MOA trigger. That's a marketing thing, man. It has one screw you can adjust for trigger weight. Well, guess what? You can back that screw out to whatever the spring weight happens to be on the rifle you bought. That's it. On these two rifles, when I backed off the spring weight on the one, ended up at 3.5 pounds. The other, with the screw backed all the way out, 5.5 pounds. That's terrible. And the truth of the matter is, you can actually you can remove the screw. Once you've got it backed out to where it's off the spring, it doesn't do anything. So calling it an adjustment is bogus. Yeah, there's an adjustment, but you're being fooled, right? Because there isn't true trigger weight fine tuning that you can do with them. On account of that, and that's the reason why I want to play with shooting them before I get to glass bedding them. Just because I got Timney triggers for both. I'll tell you something. I've never, ever in my life been interested in buying a Timney trigger. Most of my hunting has always been with Remington Model 700s, and the Walker trigger is great. Don't let anybody tell you different. If you know what you're doing and how to set that trigger up, they are a beautiful trigger. You can get a crisp, really light trigger with that, and no issue with safety. The so-called the gun firing when you don't want it to. No. I've adjusted a number of them without any issue whatsoever, including the 30-06, which I just mentioned. So, the Timney trigger is going to be a learning experience. I've never had one in my life. Never needed one until I got these damn Winchesters with this so-called MOA trigger. Got the trusty Lyman trigger gauge, which once I get these things put in, I will frig around. 1, two, I got the last, I needed two. I got the last two that Western Gun Parts had on their shelf. Yeah, good job. Lucky. I've had people say the trigger doesn't matter. Well, I think the trigger matters a little bit, especially if you can get a nice, light, crisp trigger. Yeah, I think the Timney trigger is going to make a difference. I haven't said that, of course. I'm repeating myself here, but I've never played with one, so it's going to be a whole learning experience. I think installing it will be simple enough. Perhaps adjusting it will be too. I don't know. I guess we'll see. Anyway, so that's it for now. This is introduction to this little deal here on going to tune up these two Model 70s, I hope. Anyway, when I get the triggers in, when I get the actions pulled, we're going to look at all that stuff. Whatever decision is done there, I may just, because out of the wish to experiment and learn here, I may just take them, get the triggers put in, take them and see how they shoot without doing any fooling around glass bed. And so we'll do a little range session for that, perhaps several range sessions. And of course, ultimately that may lead to me glass bedding the stocks, but we'll see. So for now, over and out.